Going to a gun store for the first time can be really intimidating, especially if you've never shot or purchased a firearm before. But it doesn't have to be. I'm Paige Root, professional firearms instructor and daughter of a gun range owner, and I'm going to give you all the pro tips so that you're ready for your first trip. My favorite resource is the United States Concealed Carry Association. We're going to call it USCCA. They have a great online resource that explains some pro tips on entering a gun store for the first time. So if you're more of a reader, I'll link it below. But I'm going to give you like the nitty-gritty tips. Okay, we're going to break this down by before, during, and after your gun store visit. Step 1, which one are you going to go to? Use the Google machine and find a gun store in your area. I look up a few, and then when I'm nervous about going to a new place, I look at all the photos to get an idea of what the interior looks like and what kind of people go there, and I'm like, okay, I'm like there. I'm immersed digitally. When you find a store that you're interested in, either go on their website, or what I would do is call them. You can get all the questions and get a feel for how their customer service is. Get their pricing and availability. What are their slower days and times for a newbie to come in? What documentation do I need? And the overall umbrella question, how does this all work? Ask these questions. They should answer them for you. And if they don't, find somewhere else. Step 2, what the heck do I wear? If you're going to buy a gun, you can wear whatever you want. But if you're going to use an indoor range, I would recommend closed-toed shoes and a high neck like this, because the brass can sometimes bounce back and burn you. And we do not want that going down our shirt. Step 3, cost. For my gun buyers, your budget is not just the firearm. We need to think about training, any certification that your state requires, ammunition, range time, a cleaning kit, a safe, holsters. There's a lot to add to that budget. Just keep that in mind. For my range users, there's the range time, but then a gun rental if you don't have one, ammunition, eye and ear protection, and targets. The pricing should be on the store website, but this is something that you can ask during your phone call. Now, when I worked at my dad's gun range, there was an elephant in the room policy that a lot of ranges are adopting, and it's called the buddy policy. If you do not have your own firearm and you want to rent a firearm from a range, more than likely they're going to require you to be in a party of 2 or more. Not only is this for added safety, but this is also something that you need to read between the lines on. It's for preventative measures of mental health. So if you call a gun store and they say you need to be in a party of 2 or more, please respect those wishes. Remember, a gun store and a gun range's job is safety for you and others. And on that note, let's head to the gun store. When you go into a gun store, more than likely, you can be carrying a loaded firearm on you. It's okay. Now, what we don't want is for guns just walking around. So normally there's cases at the entrance of the store for you to safely case up your firearm for when you're walking through. The range I'm at is in Arizona, and it's got a membership counter, a training area, a range, and a retail area. And some of this might look familiar from the Google photos that you were looking at before. Okay, so people carry guns, great. We don't want guns carrying around because of safety. Awesome. Gun handling etiquette. Whether you're renting one or buying one or just want to see one, ask for help and ask what the policy is. Every store policy is going to be a little different. More than likely, the guns are going to be behind locked cases. Again, that's for safety and liability. Just ask to see one. The associate should do a physical check of the firearm, making sure that it's clear before handing it to you. Regardless if they do, you need to do a physical check of that firearm. And if you don't, ask. Say, I'm sorry, I'm new at this. Can you show me that it's clear? Can you walk me through that? Once the gun is double check clear and it's in your hands, follow the firearm safety rules. I'll pop up the USCCA ones right here. And then ask them, am I allowed to dry fire? We go over that in another video. Where can I point this thing? Ask them for recommendations on other firearms. Have a conversation with your associate. Pro tip, ask if they work on commission. And if the store inventory is slim and they're really pushing this gun, they might just want to get it off the shelf and you need a second opinion. Not to jab my commission workers, but if a first-time gun buyer is coming in and you're pushing them on buying a gun, the first thing that you should sell them is training. So there's a red flag there. But if you really like a gun, the last thing I would do before really pulling the trigger on purchasing it, the puns are awesome. Now, the last thing I would do before making a final decision on purchasing a firearm is trying it before you buy it. If they have a range, that's great. And when you're ready to buy, you'll need a driver's license or ID from the state that you're buying in with your current mailing address on it, like where you sleep at night. If you have the right ID, but maybe you just moved and you haven't updated it yet, you can have a supplemental form of ID like a registration for a car or a hunting and fishing license. Double check the store policy and what they're comfortable with doing and what kind of form of ID you'll need. You'll give that to them, you'll fill out a 4473 and they'll run a background check on you. Once they clear you, you are good to go and a first-time gun buyer. I get it can be intimidating, but it wasn't so bad, huh? Now before I leave you, we gotta talk about after the gun store. Make sure you always wash your hands with cold water and lots of soap. D-lead wipes are really nice too to get all that gunpowder and residue off you. Follow up with training and find a safe place with all of your firearm documentation. That's it. I get it can be intimidating, but it wasn't so bad, huh? Follow my recommendations, the links on USCCA's website that are linked down below, and my pro tips. I'm Paige Rue. See you on the range.